Hi everyone, so in this video I'm doing an ink drawing because I really like working with ink and I wanted to try doing something a bit more complicated with it because it's one of my favorite mediums to work with and I always forget how much I enjoy working with ink, so I want to do that more. There's so many things that I want to do more, but definitely ink is one of them. And I'm using a brush pen to do most of this, but right now it's just the sketching part. And the thing that I wanted to talk about in this video is drawing outside of your comfort zone, because I know it's really easy to get stuck inside your comfort zone. You might be really good at drawing portraits, so that's all that you draw. But you look at all these other artists and you see all these things that you want to know how to draw, but you can't really draw them because you feel like if you try to draw them, you might fail, or you're just so far into your comfort zone that you're afraid to try something new. And that can be really, really difficult, and I honestly think the best way to overcome this is to keep a messy sketchbook and use that sketchbook for all of your practices, all of the drawings that you don't really care what they look like. It's just purely for your own practice, and that's kind of what I've been doing, but it's not like I sketch in it just for the sake of it. I still try to make things look nice, I guess is what I'm trying to say, but I also leave a lot of things really, really rough in that sketchbook. So for instance, for me, obviously I draw mostly female characters, and like lately, over the last maybe like 2 months ago, I've been doing a lot more sketches of male characters in my sketchbook, mostly trying to figure out the style that I want to draw them with, because I really want to be able to draw male characters. Like, I want to diversify my art. Is that the right word? I want to have a more diverse set of styles and subjects that I draw. Like, I want to be able to draw everything like every artist does. So the best way to start to learn how to draw everything is to take it one thing at a time. So for now, I'm focusing on male characters, and I also want to move on to backgrounds, and mostly painting backgrounds, because drawing backgrounds for me, I don't want to say it's easy, but I find it a lot easier to work with lines in the background rather than colors and values, if that makes sense. So I find it a lot easier to sketch a tree, a building, and some mountains in the distance than it is to go in with a rough paintbrush and start with rough shapes and build up the colors and the values. That is a lot harder for me. So this drawing was kind of my way of kind of showing you the stuff I've been working on, drawing male characters, and there's definitely so many things that are off about it, and I think a good thing to do is, if you want to draw something that you're not that comfortable with, don't just make the entire drawing something that is totally new for you. Combine other elements within the drawing that you are comfortable with, so that the whole thing isn't that daunting and it seems a bit more manageable, because there's some parts of the drawing you know you will be able to do well. So what I did for this is I included a cat and some like organic objects in the grocery bag. So like the groceries, the bread, the leafiness, I think is easy to draw. The bag was fairly easy to draw, but I kept messing it up in the sketch. I kept doing the perspective wrong. Like the sides of the bags didn't quite match up with each other, and I don't know if they do now. And then I also drew something that I'm not that comfortable with. It's kind of hit or miss for me, which are cats. And I like drawing cats, but it takes me a few attempts to get it right. So I had to look up a reference photo to see how the cat's face, what it would look like if it was brushing against someone's leg, how they rub on people's legs. And I'm pretty sure his tail is too long, but I kept it that way just for the composition. I don't think it's alarmingly long. I don't think it's like it's so long that it looks bad, but I haven't really seen this with a fresh set of eyes yet, so it could. And also I worked with an ink wash, which is something I like to do, but I'm not necessarily good at controlling it. So it's something that it's in my comfort zone because I enjoy doing it and I feel comfortable, but it's outside of my comfort zone because of I'm not that experienced with it. So it's good to kind of combine a bunch of different things in a drawing if you're doing it for practice, and do something that you're uncomfortable with, something that you are comfortable with, so it makes the task a lot easier if the whole idea of doing something completely out of your comfort zone to start right off the bat is too daunting for you. And I wasn't really sure what to do with the background. I just wanted to didn't really want to have anything in the background. I just want it to be just a simple drawing, and I just did a bit of grass just to establish where the ground is, to give it some weight and like add some sturdiness to the drawing. So like I said before, it's really important to draw things outside of your comfort zone, because that is how you grow as an artist. You will never be able to draw more if you never practice something, you're never going to be able to draw it. And even if, say you want to start being able to draw male characters or buildings or female characters, if you're used to drawing male characters, the first one you do isn't going to look good. It's not going to be that great. But the more you do, the better it gets. And it can definitely be a long process, but it is worth it in the end if you stick to it. And you might not see results for a long time, just like anything that you're practicing. And it might be really, really uncomfortable to draw because you just don't really know what you're doing. And it's good to just not care about how the drawing is going to turn out. Just do it for practice, and eventually you'll start getting results that you like. I know this is a lot easier said than done, but it is the best way to practice things that you're not comfortable with. And the biggest problem with this is you aren't comfortable drawing it, so practicing it is not comfortable. And just the more you do, the better you will get. And I feel like I keep repeating this, but people say practice makes perfect, but practice makes progress. The more you practice, you're going to progress. I don't know if there's really such a thing as perfection. If you draw something for practice, a tiny percent, your skill level has increased by a tiny percent. And the more you do, the more your skill level increases and the more your knowledge increases about that subject. And it's important to focus on one thing at a time. Don't try to improve everything at once. Start with one thing, get a little bit more comfortable with it, where you're at a point where you can draw it and you find it more comfortable to practice it, but you still want to develop it, and then start practicing something else that's kind of new to you. And then just kind of keep up with things. Don't drop something for a long time and then come back to it expecting to be able to draw it the exact same way, because sometimes your brain kind of forgets how to draw it and you have to relearn it. So the best way is to be consistent and try new things often. So just keep a sketchbook that you don't care about and fill it with all the stuff that you don't know how to draw. And when you look back on that sketchbook, you will see progress. And it just depends on how long you draw for, how fast you learn, how long you practice, and for like how many months or weeks it's been going on for, of like how much progress you will see. But the more time you put into it, the more you will progress. So I hope you enjoyed seeing me kind of trying something out of my comfort zone. The only thing that's really out of my comfort zone, mostly, I'm kind of starting to get an idea how to draw male faces. Like the style of the face is something I recently figured it out a little bit. It's nowhere near perfect, but I'm starting to kind of get there. But I find it really, really hard to draw pants. I can't draw pants. I always make them look too baggy or too tight, and I just kind of lose the overall shape of the leg. So it took me a really long time to sketch this, a lot longer than it should have, because I was trying to make it look nice. But if this was just my sketchbook, I would not polish it. This is my sketchbook, but if I was just doing this for just a few quick sketches, I wouldn't necessarily finish every single sketch. I would just do it very loosely just to kind of get the general idea of it and practice a bunch of different pants, a bunch of different poses of the legs, different kinds of pants, sweatpants, jeans. That's definitely something I realized making this that I need to work on, is drawing pants, because legs for me are easier to draw than legs with clothing on top of them. Shirts are okay. I'm kind of understanding how to draw shirts, especially male anatomy. I just find that difficult. But the more I practice, I'm seeing more results, and it's taking a few months, but if you keep at it, and I definitely don't sketch as much as I should, but if you keep at it, you will be able to master drawing whatever you want to draw. And this video was really supposed to be about drawing outside of your comfort zone, and that just helps you grow as an artist. So I hope you found some part of this video helpful and that it wasn't too rambly. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.